How's it going? It's Rocky. Welcome to week number 27 of our $2,000 weekly challenge. At the end of the week, I release content on my experience trading the micro E-mini and the E-mini futures, specifically the YM, which is the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Unfortunately for this week, I again did not reach my goal of $2,000. We ended the week red for 2 weeks in a row, which has only happened once in the past for the year 2021. We ended the week at negative $1,461.72. We actually started the week conservatively, being positive the first 2 days, but then I made some mistakes in the middle of the week, but managed to recover most of it by the end of the week. Now I'll review the account statement to show you how we came up with the negative $1,461.72. So I have the range here from July 4th, Sunday, to today, Saturday, July 10th. As you know, Sunday was Independence Day in the US, which was a holiday, which means that the market was closed on Monday. And it was a short week of trading, so essentially 4 days of trading for this week. So if we look at our description here, we traded a mix of the YM, which is the E-mini, and also the MYM, which is the micro. And I wanted to point out that I did have to deposit money again this week, which is right here. I deposited $1,100 on Thursday just to keep my account in good standing. So for the week, we ended it at $19,232.01. However, we deposited $1,100, which we will subtract from that balance. And our starting cash for the week was $19,594.03. So that gave us a net of negative $1,462.02. So even though we had a negative week, I choose to look at the positives, and I want to share you some of the good trades that I actually did at the beginning of the week. So what we're looking here is the usual. On the left is a time-based chart, 5-minute candlesticks, and on the right are tick-based charts, which are 512 ticks Heikin-Ashi candles. So on this position, I opened a contract at around 9:50 in the morning for a long position. And we entered at 34,320. And I'm actually going to draw a horizontal line just to show you where the visual is for the 320, which is actually almost quite close to the top of that candle here. So for this trade, if we look at our indicators, the MACD has crossed over way before that, around 8:30. But we waited until we were back on the overbought side on the stochastic RSI here, and we could see based on the histogram that lines were starting to diverge. But as you know, I do use two charts. So if we look at the tick-based chart, the real reason that I waited until about that 9:50 is we see a crossover right here at around 9:47 on the MACD. It was starting to diverge, and it was then at the 9:53 mark or so that we were on the overbought side on the stochastic RSI. So that's when both of those charts were then in agreement, and that's why I opened two contracts at 34,320. And just to do the calculator here, we'll basically compute that. So the first one, we exited at 347. When with the entry of 320, that was what I mentioned, 27 ticks. So times 5, that was essentially a gross profit of $135. And the second trade that we exited was at 348, and with the entry of 320, that was 28 ticks. So by multiplying that by 5, which is the value of each tick move on the E-mini, that was $140. So 140 plus 135, this trade right here actually gave us a gross profit of $275. So the second trade I want to highlight this week actually happened after a losing trade. And essentially, if you look at my previous content, I try to draw this oval shape here to indicate a losing trade. And I do that because I can go back later to basically analyze what I did wrong. But instead of focusing on that, I'm going to focus on the winning trades because I choose to be positive this week. And essentially, I'm talking about this trade here that we entered at 12:05. And we entered basically with 4 contracts here because I flipped long. So essentially, it's 2 contracts that we entered. and it entered at 34,423. And I've drawn a horizontal line here to visually indicate where that is. And basically, this is when it was already showing bullish signs, and that was supported by my indicators. So if you look at the MACD, it was starting to diverge here. And then on the stochastic RSI, you can see that it was headed on the overbought side. So that's on the time-based side. Now, if you look on the tick-based chart, you can see right here that a crossover did occur on the MACD. And again, the stochastic RSI was headed on the overbought side. So not perfect, but heading in the direction that we wanted to. And this was a nice trade that went from 34,423 and exited at 34,458. So I'm going to bring the calculator here. So essentially, we exited at 458. We entered at 423, and that is 35 ticks. And because we had 2 contracts, we're going to multiply that by 10. So that trade right there gave us a gross of $350. So even though we had a red week for week number 27, I choose to look at it positively and share a different perspective from my trading journey. So I wanted to do a mid-year review of how I'm doing so far. And I wanted to share this chart because I think for someone who is either has been doing this for a while or just starting to trade, I want to make sure that I share this chart or this Excel sheet because I think it's very important for someone to keep track on how they are doing. So I'm going to focus first on the right here. This is how I track how I'm doing daily, essentially. This is where I list down what my beginning cash is every day on my account statement. And this is how I can keep track really on how I'm doing for the week. And so we all know for this week, it was negative $1,461.72. But instead of that, I'm going to focus on how we're doing for the year 2021. So this is our mid-year review. So this year, when I started this series, our goal was to earn $2,000 every week. And essentially, we are now at week number 27. So, you can do that math easily, but just want to show you visually here. $2,000 times 27 is $54,000. So ideally, this is where we'd like to be right now. But, that's an ideal case. And the reality is we are at 16,000. So we're short of about, essentially, $37,601 short of our goal. But that's okay. This year, if you divide that by 27 weeks, we've been averaging $607.37. So again, even though I haven't reached my goal, which is a very lofty goal, I'm still happy that I'm averaging $607 every week so far for the year 2021. I want to show you this chart here, explain to you what's happening here. So we have the dates on columns B and C, so the starting week and the ending week, and I list my starting cash and ending cash for those weeks. And I've highlighted 2 numbers here. So basically on week 5, you can see that I've highlighted the lowest the account has ever been based on cash balance, which is $9,054.44. And also on the ending balance, the highest is always it's been for the account, which the highest value we had was at $28,320.09. And as you know, I was doing this for daily income, so it was my goal to withdraw every week. And this is where I show both my deposits and my withdrawals. So I do show the withdrawals as a negative because it is leaving the trading account. But when I do the net here where I add the deposit and the withdrawal, I do show that when it's negative, which is when I'm withdrawing, that's actually a green. That means it's a positive green withdrawal week, which is highlighted there. And you can see here, I deposited more than I withdrew on week 9, and that's why it's red at $10,000. But what's really important here is the net account, which on the I, which basically shows me my progress for every week. And as you can tell, as I mentioned in the beginning of the content, this is only the second time for the year that I've had 2 red weeks in a row. A bad thing, but at the same time, I choose to be positive and I zoomed out to really look at my progress. As you notice here, I've had some really big losses, which, as we already know, watching my content, I have a problem with holding on for too long. I turned the corner a bit on that and I'm a little better at it. But, we had really bad weeks this past 8 weeks. has really gone downhill. I've had like almost $7,000 loss here and a $7,000 loss here on week 24. But I'm very proud of the stretch that we had here from week 13 to week 19, which is actually 6 straight weeks of green, which I'm quite happy with, and hopefully, really a motivation for me to get back to that. That's my ideal stretch for a month per se. But again, I wanted to show you this because trading is difficult and it's not a get rich scheme. It's really a business. I treat it as a business, and that's how people should look at it, because there's a lot of statistics there that most day traders lose their money, which is true. And I think you can attribute a lot of that because a lot of day traders are either doing it part-time, on the side without really looking at the information, and they're doing it as a get rich quick scheme, which is really quite dangerous. What I'm doing here is a little more different. I mean, sure, my progress isn't really something amazing, and I've been averaging $607 a week, so we're hoping to increase that, and our goal still is $2,000 every week, and hopefully for the second half of the year here we can have a bit more of a progress and a compounding effect on our total account cash balance. Anyway, that's our content for the week. I hope you enjoyed the information that I've shared, and hopefully you liked and subscribed the content. And if you didn't learn anything, please do give me another chance, and hopefully you learn something next time. All right, have a good one.